Hey there, Diane Conklin with CompleteMarketingSystems.com. What do you do on Monday when your podcast interview gets canceled? You shoot a live. What do you do on Wednesday when your podcast guest doesn't show up? You shoot a live, because after all, 2 days this week, shirt, hair, and makeup. So let's just take advantage of that. So I talked Monday about this movie that I watched called Range Runners. And I'm so bad at movie titles, I always have to look it up. And I did today again. And so I looked at it anyway. The premise of the movie, in case you didn't catch it earlier this week, is there's a gal who's running, and her dad had been her coach and he passed, and the movie goes on. Watch it or don't watch it. But it got me thinking even more this week as I've kind of walked through this week about how far we're willing to push ourselves, because this movie the premise was really all about her dad coaching her and pushing her beyond her limits. Excuse me. And it got me thinking about what our limits really are, right? So one of the scenes that it flashes back to in the movie is her sitting on the ground with a bloody knee, and there are hurdles beside her. I don't know if she was hurdling or not, but she has fallen, right? And she's crying. She's young. I don't know. It looked like maybe she was 10 or 12, maybe a little younger than that. I don't really know. But anyway, she's, the knee is bloody and she's sitting there, and dad walks over, and he's a former military guy, and basically says, get up. And she says, but it hurts. And he said, are you going to let that stop you? And as I'm watching the movie, and this week as I'm going through my week, I keep thinking about how far he pushed her beyond where she was willing to go. Now, yeah, it's a different situation, right? She's an athlete. These are, this isn't like we as business owners, we're not elite athletes. Or are we? Right? I do a lot of analogies in my head. I don't always talk about them, but the analogy between being an athlete and running a business, so many of the lessons that I learned as an athlete and being pushed by a coach, being pushed by my dad, being pushed beyond where I would have gone left to my own devices, just keep kind of rearing their head and just keep coming up. And so it's this piece of, take what you want and leave the rest. But here's what I know. Most of my coaching clients wouldn't do the things that they do and wouldn't have the success that they have if someone wasn't pushing them. I'll give you just a really quick example. I have we're in wherever we are in this pandemic, right? Coming out of it, in the middle of it, on the other side, wherever we are. But when the pandemic first started, I have a catering client. He still works with me, and he's been talking about a continuity business with these sauces and jellies and jams and crackers and different things for a couple of years. And, when I saw that the pandemic was coming long before it got here, I said to him, you need to get that up and running. And he waited a little bit, drug his feet a little bit, as we all do, right? He was comfortable. Things were going pretty well for him. He had a nice business and had been in business for a long time. And so as this thing started to move closer and closer and it arrived, I said to him, you have 30 days to launch this business. And his eyes got about this big around, and he looked at me and he goes, I can't do that. I said, sure you can. You absolutely can. And I said, by the way, while you're at it, before all the restaurants get started, why don't you launch a home meal delivery? And so literally in 30 days, he launched 2 brand new businesses that he's now taken and very successfully running and growing and doing well. As a matter of fact, what happened with the jellies and jams and sauces is that he's actually being looked at now by one of the nation's largest retailers to have his products put in their stores. It's not something that we planned on or intended, but my point is he started 2 businesses in 30 days and he didn't believe he could do it, but he did it. Why? Because I said you can, because I said go do this thing. I said, I pushed him. And I held him accountable, right? And that's what a coach and a mentor does, is they hold you accountable. Because here's what I know. Left to my own devices, when I, even as an athlete, when I was training in college and stuff, did I want to go run the miles? Did I want to do the practices in the summer when we weren't together as a team? Excuse my language, but hell no, I didn't, right? But I knew I had a training schedule. I knew that even though coach wasn't there, that I had to report back, and I had the accountability of my teammates, right? But having someone, I think a lot about, when I'm personal training, in years past when I was doing that, how many times did somebody get to the gym in the morning and look at me and say, I don't want to work out? Well, okay, but we're here, right? You're here, I'm here. Let's just go. How much better do you feel? And it's the same way anytime you're working with a coach, right? It's not always comfortable, but where do you end up in the long run by having someone push you as opposed to staying where you are? None of us will grow to the same capacity. I believe this. Without someone pushing you, without, we talk about the big why, and a lot of us have whys, right? Some of our whys are internal. Some of our whys are external, that we do for other people or whatever. But we all have a reason for doing what we do. And yet none of us really want to be uncomfortable. None of us want to push ourselves to the point of being in pain, right? It's this piece of, gosh, I'm willing to go, if this is my pain point, I'm willing to go here, right? I'm willing to be uncomfortable, but I'm not willing to skin my knee. I'm not willing to get up after I've fallen down a cliff and broken my leg. And yes, it was a movie, right? But, and walk back to, to get help with a broken leg with two sticks, and a cane that you made out of a tree limb, right? And again, in business, we don't have to go that far, but are you challenging yourself? That's a question I want you to ask yourself. Are you challenging yourself? Are you pushing yourself? Are you, to use the Army thing, right? Are you being all you can be? Are you maximizing the skills, abilities, and talents that you have to impact the maximum number of people that you could possibly impact? And only you can answer that question. I would tell you that, in the 25 plus, actually 30 plus years that I've been in business and working with clients and coaching and mentoring people, I will tell you that very few would do it on their own. You look at a guy like David Goggins. If you want to go follow him, he's kind of an anomaly. He's written a book you can also buy, but he's a guy who pushes himself to unthinkable limits, and seems to do it pretty well on his own. But I think he's really the way big exception, right? So I'm just putting that out there. Like, how far are you willing to go? Are you willing to fall and skin your knee and get back up? Are you willing to make the changes that you need to make to grow? Are you willing to continue to learn and shift and gain new skills and abilities in your business? And look, let me just tell you, after somebody who's been in business as long as I have, it's not always easy. It's not always easy to stay motivated and to keep learning and pushing and all of that. You get older, you get tired, or you don't have as much energy, whatever those things are, right? And so the need to have somebody from an accountability or somebody who has different experiences than you do, who can continue to push you, is a really important thing. And so I'm going to do something new in 2022. I'm going to put together, and I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do 5 people or 8 people. 8 will be the max, sort of a high-end mastermind kind of group. And it's going to be exclusive. The dynamics of the group are going to be important. It's going to be high end. And when I mean high end, that means it's going to be, there's going to be an investment, a significant investment, not ungodly, but significant. And I'm just putting it out there. If you want to be pushed and you want somebody that's gonna talk to you and in a loving way, but tell you how it is and push you to new heights so that you can grow, you can maximize your income and make 2022 the year unlike any other. I would love to talk to you and see if it's a fit. Message me, comment below, and let's get together and have a chat. But if you don't do that, find somebody to work with. Find somebody that you resonate with that will push you to new heights, not only in your business, but in your life. Because you know what? Not only do you owe it to yourself, but you owe it to the people that you love and care about. You owe it to them as well. And so 2022 is coming around the corner. We are less than 3 months. We got October, November, December. For all practical purposes, September is gone. So you got 90 days. What are you going to do in the last 90 days to get yourself set up for 2022? Comment, holler, message me. Let's talk. I'm Diane Conklin with CompleteMarketingSystems.com. Make it a great day. Go push yourself.